Hi guys, this is my first tutorial ever, so please bear with me. Today I'm going to teach you guys how to make an NPC character look at your playable character from any direction. There's 8 directions in this game. And the reason I'm doing this is because I couldn't find any tutorials on this. I had to figure it out myself. So here is a step-by-step guide, all the things you have to have set up, and the actual code on how to implement it in your game if you would like to do so. All right, so without further ado, this is my sandbox area. Anytime I need to test something, I kind of test it here. I have my playable character that you can see I have control of moving around. I have an NPC that's currently in the idle state, and I have a script that says whenever I click and hold, here, I'll show you, whenever there's input detected and I'm clicking with the left click button, then the chow looks at the player or whatever specified target you would like. If you're not clicking and holding, then the chow stops looking at that target. So I'll show you how to set these up, but first the demonstration. I'm clicking and holding, I'm walking around, and the chow is constantly looking at whatever target you have set, which in this case is obviously the player. First and foremost, let's look at the NPC. In my case, it is the chow. This is what looking at looks like. It's a lot, and I'm sorry, I'm not. There's probably such like an easier way to do this, but what I'm doing is I'm referencing the animation player and I'm playing a specified animation after determining where the target's position is relative to the NPC. I have a boolean titled is looking that's automatically set to false when the child is instantiated. The reason you need this is because if you're not specifically looking at a target, it should default to playing an idle animation of your choice. The chow is not moving, and the chow is alive, and the chow is not looking at a specific target, then go ahead and play idle facing the south direction. That's what this is saying. Now, if the chow is not moving and the chow is alive and the chow is looking at something, you're going to ignore whatever input you would have otherwise been paying attention to. This is really important because if you leave this as is and you don't have a boolean at all, it will always be trying to play this animation. It's basically conflicting information, right? If you try to get the chow to look at something else, or really play a specific animation, you're telling it to play 2 animations at the same time. So that's why this boolean is important. There's 8 directions in my game. You can technically do 4 directions. If you want just north, south, east, west, you want this highlighted segment. And if you want just the in-betweens, so northeast, southeast, southwest, and northwest, then you would want this section. But if you want all 8, go ahead and take all of this. So I won't go through every single one, just know that it does work. The next most important thing to know about is the stop looking function. What you want to do is set is looking to false so that it can go back to the default animation that you've set up. And then you want to check whether or not the sprite is flipped. Checking whether or not the sprite is flipped is really important because if you happened to stop looking while the sprite is flipped and you don't fix it, then your NPC is going to start walking backwards or pretty much facing the opposite direction that they're supposed to face. This only is relevant for people who are like me and they don't have 8 animations. Like I said, there's 8 directions in my game, but for idle, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 directions. So what that means is if I want to face, so I have idle east here, if I want to face west with idle, I have to take idle east and flip it horizontally, and that's what this is doing. You take the sprite, you flip it horizontally, and then boom, you're facing west. So if you are flipped horizontally, you just want to set that flip to be false. This pretty much ensures that when your NPC is no longer looking at a target, that the sprite is going to be facing the proper direction. That is pretty much all you need to set it up. But what if you just want it running all the time? Well, then you get rid of the condition. So I'm just gonna have it looking at my player at all times. I'll run this sandbox. And then without having to click, the child is just gonna look at me all the time. I don't know if I said it before, but there is a built-in look at function, but it does not work the way that we would typically want it to work for an isometric game. So I'm going to demonstrate what the look at function does and why I had to build my own solution. This is what look at does. And I'm sure maybe there is a way to tweak it to do what you want it to do, but this is not what we wanted. That is how you set that up. Please let me know if there's anything that's kind of confusing about the setup, or if you have questions, comments, concerns, whatever, down in the comment section below. I apologize if some of this didn't make too much sense. I'm not exactly the best at explaining code and how things work. Just let me know your thoughts below, and I will see you guys next time.